When the schedule came out, I was really excited about the bye week. And then you realize this is a longer time than what you've ever had before. So we're certainly excited, ready to play another game. We've had a lot of time to rest and recover, to self-evaluate our team, things we do well, things we need to get better at. And so we put a lot of work in last week, improvement style, to get ready to continue to play the style that we want to play the rest of the season. So I really want to give a big shout out to my coaching staff. I think, a lot of times those are the guys that get lost in the shuffle. We have some coaches on my staff that are dealing with some real life things, from family perspective, and we make a commitment to one another that when we walk in this building is everything about helping our players be the best that they can possibly be. So certainly appreciate all their hard work and dedication. It doesn't go unnoticed. I want to shout out to James White. He's been phenomenal for our team. Having him around. His experience has been great for our players to see. I think they've taken to that. Certainly want to talk about our compete team. One thing about our football program, as we continue to build and continue to move forward, our compete team has gotten better and better each year. And, one thing about us, if you go out to practice and you're not performing your best, you will get embarrassed by the compete team. And those guys really get us ready to play. They help prepare us throughout the week. They keep guys sharp and engaged, and they're developing, well in our program. A lot of those young players would have played for us a couple years ago, but when their time comes, they'll be ready to play. So, obviously, Buffalo, first MAC game. Big deal for us. Like I told our team, nobody measures you for a ring for playing Notre Dame. Our goal is to compete for a championship, and we have our first opportunity to, move up in the race this week against a very improved football team. Coach Limbo has done a great job there. He's a head coach that's been around a long time. He was the head coach at Lehigh, Elon, Ball State, and now Buffalo. I think his career record is 114-66. So he has a lot of experience. You can tell by the way his team plays. They play tough. They play physical. They play disciplined. Offensively, they got a quarterback that's a dual threat guy. They have two really, really good running backs. Their offensive line is physical, especially in the interior of the offensive line. And last week they had some receivers go up and make 50-50 contested plays. So we got a big challenge with their offense, but it starts with the quarterback. We got to make sure we do a great job tackling and putting ourselves in position to get them in some long situations. So and see how they'll adjust. Defensively, defensive coordinators from Miami of Ohio, very similar style to Miami of Ohio, do a great job getting a hat on the hat. Last week they played some different coverages, so it'd be interesting to see how they try to play us, and we'll have to be able to adjust and adapt at that point. Very active up front. They got some twitchy D tackles and D ends that can create stress and problems. The linebackers play physical and downhill, and then they tackle well on the back end. So, very disciplined scheme. Certainly want to try to get an extra hat to the box if possible, depending on formations. And then special teams. Obviously, Coach Limbo is a special teams guru. That's been his background for a long time. So we have a tremendous challenge on special teams. At South Carolina, they did a lot of fakes and ways to try to steal a possession. So we have to be on high alert on special teams to make sure that we do our job from a special team standpoint and try to minimize that phase. But we know they're going to have something for us in a special teams game, and we got to be alert to that and be prepared for it, along with playing great fundamentals and techniques. So it's a big game for us. It's the next game, but obviously it's our first conference game. And so from their perspective, obviously, you play conference games. You only allowed to travel 70 people to a game. So I'd be curious to see how that adjusts with their personnel, because if we had to travel 70 at this point, it would be a challenge, knowing that all the different guys involved with special teams. So certainly looking forward to the challenge on Saturday. I hope it's a sold-out Husky Stadium. It feel like they got a lot of tickets sold already, and hopefully we have a lot more people engaged. That makes a tremendous advantage for our football team. It creates energy. It creates excitement. It creates a home field advantage that will allow us to play better. So I hope Husky Stadium is packed this weekend. All the Husky alums are proud of the way we play, and hopefully we can go out there and have a good performance on Saturday as well.
Coach, you do anything different than past years when you had the week off this time?
Yeah, we've never had a complete week off, not that I can remember. You normally have the action, 10 days to prepare for the next week. But we were able to self-scout last week, early in the week, some things we do well and things we need to get better at. We were able to have some improvement practices. And then on Saturday and Sunday, we actually put the game plan in for Buffalo and practice the game plan for Buffalo. So we gave our players some rest early in the week, improvement practice, and then obviously got a lot of physical work done over the weekend to try to put ourselves in the best position possible to be successful. So now it's about polishing up the details, continue to study the game plan. Obviously, Buffalo played UMass last week. They did some different things offensively and defensively. So we tried to make sure we show them those looks as well. And we know they'll have some new things in this week. So we got to be ready to prepare for everything and adjust to anything.
I'm sorry.
Do you want to go?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. So, Coach, obviously you come off this bye week. It's a good time for players to get this rest, but also time for the high from the Notre Dame win to kind of, simmer down. How do you feel about the players' ability to kind of put that win in the back of their minds and just focus solely on Buffalo?
Yeah, they moved on. I can tell you last week's Wednesday practice was the most physical practice we've had in a long time. We talked about making it training camp style practices, and we were able to get that done on Wednesday and Thursday of last week. And I know to the outside world, people are still talking about that game, but one of our 5 fights is us versus them, and us is everybody involved in our organization. We moved on last week, so it's great for the university, great for the athletic department, great for the football program, but we have a job to do to make sure we can play our best football on Saturday.
What have these last couple of weeks been like, just from an emotional standpoint, personal standpoint, in the wake of that game?
I've handled my obligations that Donna Turner has put in front of me, but at the end of the day, my full focus is on our football team and making sure we are the best team we can be week in and week out. And so I've been busy, but my coaching staff has done a phenomenal job making sure our guys are prepared. When I walk on the practice field, those guys give me complete confidence that they're ready to go. So I'm excited to get to Saturday and hopefully play our best game to date at this point.
It's only been 2 weeks into the season now, but you talk about that self-scouting. What have you liked so far of your team in these first 2 weeks, and what are some of those things you're looking to build on as you get ready for Mexico?
Yeah, no, I think things we want to continue to build on: ball security, takeaways. Those are two areas that we can, definitely try to enhance. We got to be great at protecting the football. We need to be better at taking the ball away. Always working on tackling, always working on special teams. So, our focus, if you just look at the things you do well, you can never improve. So what are the things that we need to continuously work on to get better at? And that's what we worked on. Scheme-wise, there are things we can do scheme-wise, disguises on defense, obviously, changing personnels and looking at our personnels on offense and making sure we break tendencies. You could be in a certain formation and throw the ball 90% of the time. Well, you need to have some runs in there so people can't play tendencies. So all those things we looked at extensively to make sure that we can offset some things that we've shown on tape to date.
progress with this team, offense, defense, is about what you thought it would be after 2 games, or is it a little ahead, a little behind, or?
Well, I like where we're at. I think going into the season, I thought we had a complete football team. I would love for us to be better on special teams. We got to be more consistent on special teams. Tom Foley has to punt the ball better. We have a great defense. We got to pin people back. I think he's averaging 30 yards per punt. Our field goal unit was better last week. It wasn't as good week 1. And then obviously our coverage teams, we got to do a better job on kickoff teams. So we can really get better and improve on special teams to get better. And we got a tremendous challenge this week that we have to be ready for.
Coach, you talked about you haven't had a bye week in your tenure here as the NIU coach. Does it almost feel like you're starting the season fresh out here on Saturday?
Yeah, the way our guys have been bouncing around, it was the right time. We talked about a 6-week build-up, 4 weeks in training camp, 2 games. And then as you look at it again, we have another 6-week build-up till we get them action. So I thought it came at a perfect time for us where we can assess and get better, but also keep them fresh, right? We've been very, very healthy the first couple of weeks of the season, and hopefully this time off will allow us to continue to stay healthy. And then also, we're big into nutrition. Like a lot of seasons that's happened in the past, guys start at a certain weight, and by the end of the season, they lose a lot of weight. But our nutritionist, Melissa, has put a great plan together to help our guys maintain their weight, which to me, your weight, dictates performance. And so we are working extremely hard on maintaining our weights, maintaining our strength in the weight room, so we can continue to be strong as the season goes along.
You guys are offensively top 25 in a lot of different stats. You touched on it a little bit, but what have we seen out of your offense that's been the kind of underlying keys to success?
Yeah, well, we've only played 2 games, so, top 25 after 2 games really doesn't mean much. We'd like to be top 25 after 12 games. But what I've seen is balance, where we've been able to, run and pass and keep people off balance. I think we have to continue to maintain that balance. I talked about being a balanced offense before the season, and if we can continue to stay, unbalanced, or continue to maintain balance, that gives our playmakers a chance to continue to make plays for the offense. So I love the versatility. We have a lot of different personnel groups. A lot of guys can do a lot of different things, and we got to maintain that throughout the season to be the type of offense we want to be.
I know you've touched on him a lot over the course of the season here, but just talk about Ethan's growth at the quarterback position over the course of the year. I mean, after you've been able to see these first 2 games, just what have you seen out of him?
No, Ethan has given us a chance to be the type of offense that we want to be and want to continue to be. I mean, he's getting us in the right checks. He's a coach on the field. Nobody watches more tape than Ethan Hampton. And so, he comes up and watches in the wide receiver room, and I sit in there and watch it or give him some suggestions. But, he's studying the opponent like a pro. And I think he's able to play faster and play with more confidence because of his preparation. And one thing I tell our players is preparation knows no opponent. And so the more you can prepare, the faster you can play, the more confident you can become. And every week you have to go back to the same process. And if you can keep a routine and a process, that will allow you to play your best on Saturdays.
How much, I'm sorry.
You can go this one, yeah.
How much of an eye-opener do you think it was for the guys on the team that win, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, I guess it was an eye-opener for everybody else. It wasn't an eye-opener for us. We played a tremendous team, and we played as hard as we can play, and we gave ourselves a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. To say it was an eye-opener, that would be a disrespect to our football team. We got a good football team that expect to go out there and compete at a high level.
From a confidence standpoint.
Yeah, we had confidence going. We had confidence the whole season. So that game don't change our confidence, at all. I don't. Yeah, I'm kind of confused with those questions, but we are a confident group, a group that work extremely hard, a group that work together, and a group that expects to play to a certain standard, an expectation of what we want it to look like.
Coach, you talked about how being top 25 in stats doesn't really mean much after 2 weeks. Do you have the same kind of mindset for the AP ranking, number 23 right now?
Yeah, I haven't even mentioned it to our players, to be honest with you, because it doesn't matter. That's somebody else's opinion about you that don't know anything about us. The only thing we know is how we work and how we prepare and how we go out there and execute. And if you're going to let people outside of our building dictate how good you are, then that's going to become a problem at some point in time. So I'm sure it's good for the fans and whatnot, but for us, we're trying to be the best team we can be this week. They have a goal, be 1-0. That's all that matters. So that's our goal every week, to try to be 1-0 and find a way to work together as a team to win a game.
One of the keys on Saturday, how did the guys react to things they haven't seen on film with Buffalo? As you mentioned, you're going to see some things you haven't seen, how they're going to react.
Yeah, no. Obviously, this week, hopefully we have the iPads again against Notre Dame. For whatever reason, the iPads wasn't working, so we didn't have the iPads last week. But, those iPads are great for in-game adjustments. And so, I know it worked the first game for us home. So if they come out with some new schemes or some different things, we'll look at the iPad and make the adjustments. I thought my coaching staff did a great job that first week with Western Illinois, an opponent that we had no information on, and they showed us a lot of different things, and we settled our players down to go out and play the next snap. So certainly looking forward to getting back the use of the iPads this week, and I think that'll be good for our players, because obviously new staff, new coordinators, I'm sure they have new things they haven't shown up to date that we have to be ready to make adjustments for.
Well, you expect to see that, during...
You definitely expect to see it, and what I tell our coaches is, let's make the adjustment in game and not wait till Sunday after the game to make the adjustment. So we got different people looking for different things. We have an outline of what we think, and if they adjust, we have our adjustments on paper. That's part of the game planning. Whatever they show you, you have to have an answer, and we work extremely hard to have the answers. And if we need to go to those answers, then we try to do it quickly as possible.
Coach, go ahead. Go ahead, Joe.
I was going to say, I know a big focal point, a lot of the stuff you've been talking about, especially on, national interviews, I think you brought it up locally too last week, is generating a lot of interest, not only in terms of ticket sales, but in terms of donations.
Yes.
Obviously, how big has it been to use the platform over the last 2 weeks, and how important is that to you to, make sure not only people are coming to the game, but people know that they can donate and all that stuff?
Yeah, obviously in this new era of college football, there are a lot more things involved as far as NIL, facilities, to stay competitive. And if, everybody is happy that we won that game last week, but to maintain that or to be able to continue to move forward, it takes an investment. And so, certainly our Husky Athletic Fund has done a great job building off of a moment to a movement. And I think if we can continue to do that, we can continue to build the type of team that we want to be to move forward in this new day and age of college football. And so we're always looking for ways to enhance the program, and for us, enhancing our facilities, enhancing our collectives. Those are ways that we can continue to attract the type of young men in our program that can help us compete.
Coach, just only question about the last win, but when you win a game like that, similar to when you win the MAC championship in 21, it puts a target on the team's back. Do you think that the rest of the teams on the schedule look at you guys differently and, want to give you their best shot when they come to town?
Yeah, you know what? Life is too short to worry about what other teams are thinking about. All I can concern myself with is our team and making sure they're prepared to play. And if they go out and they are as prepared to play as possible, then we're going to live with the results. We're not going to put any added pressure on ourselves. The pressure is to perform as good as you can perform. And at the end of the day, you live with the result. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose. That's part of the game. And then we'll handle success or we'll handle failure and move on to the next week. But what we're not going to do is worry about what somebody else is thinking, what somebody else is telling their people, our opponents are nameless and faceless, and that's going to be our standard, and we can care less. That's why we have fights, us versus them. Us is everybody in our organization. Them is everybody else. Okay, them does not matter. It's all about us and what we do, and so that's how we're going to maintain our focus. But we're not going to make this a bigger deal than what it needs to be. Somebody's going to win one Saturday and somebody's going to lose. So are we doing the things to give ourselves the best possible chance to win the game? That's all I'm concerned about.
Coach, with all this the national attention this team has received, and over the past 6 years of coach, NIU has not sold out Husky Stadium. I know, Donna, we haven't sold out since 2013. If you're able to do that this year and get all seats filled in Husky Stadium, what would that mean to you and the team to get that?
It would mean everything to have a sold-out Husky Stadium. Listen, players get energized off of the energy from the stadium. And that makes a difference. So if people want us to be successful, come support us on game day. Make this a tremendous home field advantage. Make it very chaotic for the opponent. And that helps the football. That's why it's hard to win on the road. It's extremely difficult to win on the road because you're going into a hostile environment. When people start cheering or they get loud in critical situations, that puts you in more stress. So, if we can have a sold-out Husky Stadium and put Buffalo in a lot of stress, that's going to increase our chances of winning. And I think that's all we're looking to do. So hopefully the fans come out. It's a 2:30 game, not too early, not too late, where you can enjoy all the pregame festivities and cheer on the Huskies on Saturday.
Coach, Ontario was such a factor as a receiver at Notre Dame. Was that kind of a conscious decision going into this season to utilize him more in that role, and how has he progressed as a receiver at running?
No, I mean he's always caught the ball. I think the first game of the season we played Western Illinois. I think he had almost as many yards receiving as he did his whole career. It was never for a lack of his receiving ability. It was just making sure we had enough plays to get him the ball. But if you have to worry about him as a runner and a receiver, that makes us a lot more unpredictable as an offense. So finding those different ways to creatively expand our offense is only going to make us better. And he's one of our better playmakers. We have to find creative ways where they just can't look at him in the I formation and know where he's at.
And Buffalo, the coaches ranked them 10th in the preseason poll in the MAC, or predicted them 10th. Did the coaches vastly underestimate this Buffalo?
Well, I think Coach Limbo and his track record of coaching would lead you to believe they were ranked wrong. He is a great football coach. I had a chance to meet him this summer during MAC Media Days. We rode a bus together to the Hall of Fame and talked. And just by talking with him, you know how intelligent he is and how good of a football coach he is by some of the things he said to me during that visit. So I know he's going to have his team prepared, and it's our job to be as prepared as possible to go play as hard as we can possibly play to give ourselves a chance to win.
We've seen a little bit more swagger with the guys in practice this week after that win, or are they the same?
Yeah, I mean, these guys are confident guys. We're not swayed by a result of a game. That doesn't even make sense for a competitor. These guys have confidence. They practice that way. They walk that way. Now people are just starting to see it and then make assumptions that they didn't have swagger before. That doesn't make sense to me. This is a fun group to coach. I love being around them. They do things the right way on and off the football field, and we're going to continue to try to do that to the best of our abilities.
How hard was it to keep this group together, in the off season when, Power 5 teams and the transfer portal, they're trying to sell guys on making the jump?
Now, that's a great question. It was extremely difficult to keep our team together. We lost a couple guys, and then, all of a sudden, everybody wants to, text me, hey, Coach, can I see you? When you get a text from a player in December, it's like your heart just drops because, there's one or two things that's going to happen from that conversation. But we had a lot of guys come talk to me during December. I kept Sean Frazier and John Chaney, my sport AD, up to date with, what was being said and different conversations. But I knew how much the players loved this program. And so I treated them like men. I said, I'm going to support you no matter what you decide to do, but we love you guys. We want you here. We built something special, and I think if you see it through, I think special things will happen for this football team. And I was just happy with all the guys that decided to continue to be a part of our program, continue to buy into what we believe in, and these guys have been outstanding from a leadership standpoint, from a work ethic standpoint, from a discipline standpoint, from an academic standpoint. And so it's my job as the head coach to make sure we can do as much as possible for them so they can have a great experience in our program.
Going back to what you were talking about with Ontario and making sure there was enough plays for him to be that receiving back that he can be, just talk about as an offensive coach like yourself, how fun is it to come up with those plays for such an offensive side of the ball with such a skill level?
No, I mean, he's a tremendous athlete, and he still don't know how good he can be. He still is just starting to scratch the surface on his ability. And when he fully understands what he can do and the skills that he brings to the table, he's going to continue to get better each and every single week. So it's our job as coaches to put him in spots where he can showcase his ability. He ran a slant last week. The guy pushed him outside, still made a play on the ball, and then nobody can catch him. So for a guy of his size and his speed, we got to find ways to not only use him as a runner and a receiver, but as a blocker as well, and show his full arsenal of skills.
Coach, I know you talked about the increased media attention is good for funding and donations, but how good has it been for recruiting? I'm sure a lot of recruits have reached out to you in the last few weeks that want to come play for you now.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly enhanced the profile. We had our official visit weekend last week on the weekend because we didn't have a game and we wanted to spend more time with the players that's committed to us. And just seeing the parents and the players and how much pride they had in being committed to NIU spoke volumes to me that number one, we recruit the right type of kids. They develop in our program. And we recruit the right type of family. So when all those things come together, you're able to, retain a good percentage of your team.
Coach, have you and Ontario talked at all about how he overtook your career receiving yards mark yet?
No, I think he did that last year, so we haven't talked about it. Obviously, I think I still have a couple more games of eligibility. I only played one game my senior year, so I'm going to see how much he passed me by and see if I can still, finish my last 10 games.
Now, the competitor in Ontario, he doesn't ever try to race you in practice or anything?
I would only race him if I got a 25-yard head start and we're running a 40. So
in your prime, you say in your prime back in your playing days, you would beat him, right?
No way. He's fast. Yeah, I wasn't that fast.
Waiting for your NIL deal?
Huh?
You waiting for your NIL deal?
For the players. No, not for me. For whatever I do is going to be for our team. Definitely not. I know y'all saw my sunglass thing, but that was for our players. I'm going to try to make this place as special for those guys that work so hard for this program. I'm going to do everything possible to, try to enhance their situations.
So you share this Cheez-Its?
Huh?
So you share
Yeah, they had the Cheez-Its. They're going to get some sunglasses. They're going to get some other things as we continue to go. But like I said, it's not for me. It's for them because of their commitment to our program and trying to make it as best as possible.